Being pretty at work is not always a privilege. Sometimes it can really be a paradox. And that same image that opens up doors for you in the very beginning becomes the very reason that your competence is questioned later. At first glance, beauty signals polish, confidence, and professionalism. But once women are in the role, the beauty bias actually can flip into punishment. Accomplishments can be easily minimized, your authority is undermined, and your credibility is quietly stripped away. And I wanted to make a video today to talk about why this bias is not imagined. There are so many studies that can confirm this. Attractive women are more likely to get interviews, but once you're hired, your success is often credited to your looks instead of your actual ability that got you the job in the first place. And God forbid you have a polished presentation. You're dismissed as, oh, she's just a charming individual. Or if you have a win in a project, it'll be written off as favoritism. And instead of your skills being recognized, sometimes women can easily get reduced to projections, desire from male colleagues, envy from female colleagues. And the weight of this double standard really can force a lot of conventionally attractive women into a state of overcompensation. Like they'll work harder, they'll stay later, they'll deliver more, and not necessarily out of ambition, but out of a desperate need to prove that they belong. And what's more exhausting than the work itself is the invisible labor of managing all of these projections that people will put onto you. Every meeting can literally become a balancing act. Like, how do I look credible without being too visible? Like, God forbid I want to put on a really cute corporate outfit. How can I show my confidence in that without being called arrogant or being a show off? And the worst part about all of that is that this punishment often comes with silence. Because if you are a woman who's experienced this and you name it, you're often told that, oh, well, at least you have it easier. I wish I had those looks. Your pain can literally be reframed as privilege, and that dismissal of how you feel cuts deeper than the bias itself because it forces women into isolation. They'll literally stop talking, they'll swallow the frustration, and then suddenly they begin to carry the burden of the beauty bias alone. So to survive this bias, many women start dimming themselves. They'll tone down their makeup, they'll avoid those stylish outfits, and they'll soften their confidence just to avoid judgment. And it looks like a choice, but it really isn't. It's about survival. When women lean into their femininity at work, they're labeled as less competent. They're assumed that they're not as serious as the next individual. And when they strip it back, they're labeled as cold, unapproachable, not a team player. It's like it's a rigged game. Like no matter which way she turns, she'll lose. And in this no-win scenario, the only way forward seems to be just to shrink and to be less obvious and to just dim your light. But shrinking comes at a really steep cost. Over time, dimming down your light becomes habitual. The clothes that you once loved stay in the closet, and the opinions that you once shared will just stay unspoken, and your confidence will slowly be chipped away. And this is not professionalism, it's erasure. You will literally start showing up as a fragment of yourself and not your true self. So clearly, the psychological toll is a lot bigger than what a lot of us may realize. Because when women edit themselves every single day, they slowly blur the line between who they are, who they know they are, and who they want to perform just to fit in. And this erosion doesn't just stall your career, it will eat away at your identity. You know how much time you spend at work? And because no one can validate this pain, because coworkers and leaders will frame it as, oh, you're just overreacting. That doesn't exist. It's all in your head. Women will just continue to stay quiet about it. And they'll live out the slow death of authenticity, isolated inside workplaces that demand their presence, but punish their existence. And here's where the urgency comes in. Without clear boundaries, pretty women will spend their careers being drained, dismissed, and diminished until burnout or breakdown feels inevitable. Boundaries are not just about saying no, they're declarations. They're you saying that my beauty is not your business, my body is not your punchline. My worth is literally not up for negotiation. Boundaries will literally draw a line in the sand where bias can no longer go unchallenged. But here's the truth, boundaries are impossible to maintain in isolation, right? One woman speaking up gets labeled difficult. One woman pushing back gets labeled as ungrateful. And so most women swallow the bias, right? They normalize it and convince themselves that silence is safer. But silence is not safe. Silence is permission. And that's why community is so urgent. Without spaces where women can name these patterns out loud, the workplace will literally continue to rewrite their identity. It'll teach you and them to accept that invisibility as normal. It convinces you that the overwork is the price of belonging, and that's really not how it should be. It makes them believe that if they feel punished, they must be imagining it. And this is the cliffhanger, right? What happens if women never find that community? They'll keep dimming themselves. They will keep doubting. They will keep carrying the weight alone. And eventually, they will disappear inside jobs that never deserved them in the first place. And that's why the next step isn't just making boundaries, it's making sure that you have a sense of belonging, whether it's inside of work or outside of work, because no woman should face the punishment of her pretty in silence.